I'm Tamina Paris, co-owner of The Wild Garden and CEO and creator of The Secret Garden. I've toured the world with many artists, and now I'm living back on the land.
Hi, I'm Michael, and I am the joint owner of the land and co-founder of the Wild Garden. Before we moved to the land here, we lived in a condo in the city, and I had some pots of herbs. And then we moved here, and it was time to learn to grow vegetables right in the ground, and that's just what happened last year.
Last year was our first year growing garlic. The experience was quite smooth. I honestly didn't realize how easy it was to plant garlic, and I had the pleasure of learning from a farmer down the road. I helped them with their garden, and then came immediately here and did it here, and I think I planted my car keys by accident, not only garlic heads. So definitely was quite the experience. It didn't take a lot of effort to start the beds. They were really easy. It just took like, I don't know, a couple hours just to at least put some soil on top of the cardboard. We didn't have to water them. With the method we use, we put hay over top of the beds and they stayed moist the whole year round, so it required no watering, which was a huge plus for us because we don't have an irrigation system. We have to water the plants by hand. We walk to a pond and fill up buckets and then bring them back to our garden and water everything by hand. So not having to do that was a huge plus. All right, so shall we go in and plant? But when it comes to preparing your cloves to plant, so this is a hard neck. You want to cut the tops off, okay? So let me show you what it looks like when you first harvest. When you first harvest your garlic, this is our last year's harvest, it looks like this. So you're gonna need to cut these stems off, and then you get something like this. So to prepare your cloves, you wanna get a hard surface. You put it upside down, and you're gonna knock this into the ground. That's gonna separate your cloves. See? Ta-da! So then this comes off, and then you have the skin still on your cloves, and you separate them like this, and then you make these into individual cloves. So each one of these is a seed. So when you plant these, make sure the bottom goes down into the soil, and this top part is pointing directly up. That is key. So this here is one garlic seed that will grow into a full head of garlic. So each one of these is a seed. So the first thing you want to do when it comes to planting, you want to prepare your seeds so that you have them all set. You don't want to be doing it as you're going. So lucky for me, I have a beautiful husband who's preparing the bed while I prepare the seeds. When planting garlic, they need to be 12 inches apart, so your rows need to be 12 inches apart, and then between each plant is 6 inches. So what I like to do is I like to get like a spare piece of like wood or plywood, and then I take a tape measure down it, and then I measure 6-inch intervals with a marker. I put a line. That way, I place that ruler directly down on the soil, and then I get to measure out where my rows are. And then from there, I make my hole, and then I put one down the length of the bed, and then beside the beds, I put in 6-inch intervals holes going down the bed so that I know where and how far the garlic need to go, and I'm not digging each of the holes as I go. They're already all set, so then I can just go back and put the garlic into those pre-made holes that are already measured and spaced out accordingly. To figure out how deep to plant the garlic, you take the clove that you're going to be planting and you double the height. So double the height of the clove is how deep you need to put it in the ground. And the key is make sure the clove is pointing upwards. And in terms of the skin, keep the skin on. So here we go. Gonna close the holes. with love, of course. Love in your hands. Wishing your garlic a nice slumber for the winter, a nice warm cozy winter. And then after you do that, you're gonna put hay or straw on top. The reason why you put hay is to help insulate your garlic for the winter. This helps create a nice warm container for your garlic to grow roots in the winter, over the winter, and then in the spring, they then poke up on their own. You don't have to do anything. They find their way through this, and then they grow a plant, and then the season begins with your scapes.
When we made our garlic beds, we used regular garden soil and planted the garlic straight in that. We didn't need to compost or fertilize it at all. Garlic is like a moderate nutrient taker, so it can do pretty well in pretty regular soil.
You should plant garlic before snowfall. So sometime in the fall is the best time to plant it, before the ground's frozen, before snow starts falling. Then you know you're in the clear.
In the spring, when the garlic sprouts, the first thing that comes out after the leaves is the scape. So the scape is this, basically the seed pod or the future flower that grows out, and that is something you need to trim right away after it's curled.
The cycle of the garlic is you plant it in the spring, the scapes come up, you cut the scapes, and then sometime midsummer you'll start to see like the bottom leaves of the garlic, they start to dry and fall. And that's when we knew it was getting to be time to harvest the garlic. So we waited for there to be like a dry week where it wasn't raining consecutively, so that when you harvest the garlic, they could be drier, on the drier side, so that they don't rot, which is really important.
So after you harvest the garlic, you need to cure it if you want to store it for any length of time. You can use it fresh, but usually you've got a lot of garlic and you want to use it in the coming months. So to cure it, it's essentially a drying process that it does in the open air. One of the best ways to do it, or easiest ways, is to just put it on like planks of wood or cages or a grill out in open air. You don't want it to have direct sunlight though, so it should be in something like a shed or a garage or something with good airflow, but not direct sunlight.
Garlic is something that we use so much in every one of our dishes, and it's so easy to grow and it's so worth it. And I just love the fact that one clove gives you a whole head of garlic. It's like the amount of garlic that you have exponentially grows every year. And it's like it grows in its value. It's like money that keeps on giving.
Everyone loves garlic. So plant some and grow some more than you had before. Because then you'll have more garlic and more love. Because you love the garlic and the garlic will love you back.